And I'll have my notes next to me just in case. So, but it's a good thing. I'm doing PT, so the memo, because they noticed as well. My left side does all the work, my right side doesn't. So when I do my exercise in the morning, it turns my left side off and I have to use my right, and it's really obvious I limp. So if I tense my body, I can walk normally, but I'm using all the wrong muscles again. So I have to reprogram things. And in the meantime, that shows how much this side has not been working at all. Because so it will take some time. So agenda for today is sciatica. Just so you know the rundown, we're going to go through exercises I've already shown you first as our warm-up to feel things, and then we'll sit down and I'll show you how they're good for sciatica. And then I will show you a bunch of exercises, some we've done here and others you've just seen around, yoga, etc., etc. We'll do a cross comparison of why those also work for sciatica. And we'll also talk about why you get sciatica. So, because there can be different reasons, and depending on your reason will depend on which exercise works best for you. All right, so let me do my swinging arms without any talking. And just take a moment, do whichever one feels good for you, but take a moment and just breathe with it. Feel the body. And just by breathing, I can feel my shoulders relax. I'm personally relaxing my tailbone and feeling, turning from the hips, drop from the shoulders. And now that my shoulders are relaxed, I'm starting to do a little bit of the patting one. And you notice how my arms can swing absolutely free. So I've got this swinging from the lower, and my arms move because my hips move. And I barely have to use any muscles at all in my arms as I'm doing this. And then I'll go up and tap the shoulders. And then I'll do a final deeper twist to open up. That's that rotation. And then I'll let myself come to stillness. Become aware of your feet. Let's take a moment. Okay, here's my inguinal groove, this inside arch here, this inside groove here. I'll move out about 2 inches, find my femur, so I'll bring my feet in. So my feet and my hips are aligned. Relax the tailbone, and you can turn the heel out, both heels. I'm now cautious about turning my heels out, and that will open things up in the back for you. Then you can bring both heels in, and I feel my femur kind of going up. I feel a little bit taller, and then I bring it back to center, and that just helps me get my feet in the right position. And now I feel like my femur is stacked right underneath my hips when I make those movements. Then I'm just going to relax here, drop the arms. Just put your hands beneath your belly buttons, and then you don't need a deep bend, but just soften the knees so they're not locked. Imagine there's a string on the crown of your head pulling you upwards, which reminds you not to slouch. Rest the tip of the tongue at the roof of the mouth. And in Oriental medicine, we say that you're touching an acupressure point. It closes an energetic circuit. And what I found fascinating is the physical therapist asked me to do the same thing. Because even in Western medicine, they say that is your tongue at rest. Is the tongue at the roof of the mouth, right behind the teeth. When you naturally move, that's where your tongue goes, if you're not talking. So that is an anatomically correct position. Feel your breath underneath your hands. Allow a gentle smile. You allow a gentle smile because it softens the face. It also signals your nervous system to relax. And our intent of this is to relax and open up the muscles and to interrupt any muscle spasms. Now you want to be inhaling through the nose. On the exhale, you can exhale through the nose, the mouth, or both. Any of them are okay. I naturally made a sighing noise with that. That is a technique that also relaxes the nervous system. That humming to yourself, it's a soft vibration. And slowing your breath down, let's see if you can get it to the 5 count. So inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And exhale 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You hear that vibration as I go down. Inhaling. And one more before we begin. Drop the hands to the side. And I'm going to turn so we're all facing the same direction. We're going to inhale. And exhale, but drop the chin. And go right into your spinal roll. Take it nice and slow, even if it's longer than 5 counts. Any areas of tension you can hang out. Round the back. And just allow yourself to stretch. You don't need to reach the toes. The idea is to feel it in the sacrum, feel it in the low back, feel the shoulders drop and relax. Take a moment. Let's take a few slow, deep breaths while you're rounded forward. Inhaling. Softening all the muscles in this stretch. One more. Now take your hands around, feel your sacrum. And what you're going to do to roll up is push on the sacrum to remind yourself that it's that sacrum that tips towards the earth that starts to roll up. And then when you get higher up, drop the shoulders, bring the head up. And then because we're focusing on sciatica, take your casual step forward. We're going to do our psoas stretch. Down through the legs, push the hips forwards. You want to push the hips forward. The psoas shortens when you sit. So you're doing this motion to open up down the front. And down into the big toe. You want to feel it on the inside of the leg. Back down. Step back. Step forward. Take a moment, do my 5 count breath in the stretch. Bringing the foot back down. Now I'm going to inhale up. Pulling down the heavens, exhale down. Now we're going to practice just stretching the hamstrings. And you're going to recognize this as you'll just recognize it. Okay, and camera is on again. Take 2. So now reaching up. And go ahead and just reach straight up because you're going to elongate all through the torso underneath the rib cage. And you want to keep the back flat. So I'll turn to the side so you can see. Flat back. And the key is keep the knees straight. And just reach forward. You should feel it back here is the intent. And then when you feel the stretch in the back, go ahead and drop the arms and put them on your knees. Again, can you feel it in the back of your legs? So just stabilize here. Now look forward and lift the toes. And now you should really feel that going down the back of the legs. That is an area the sciatic nerve runs. So we're deliberately stretching the back of the legs to open that up. So lifting the toes, you're getting through the calves, back of the legs, looking forward. Okay, now relax the toes, and then go ahead and come back up. So you can do just that, but I wanted you to feel that stretch, because sometimes when I watch you guys do that, in various stretches, people bend their knees. As soon as you bend your knees, you lose that stretch. So the intent when we're doing that is you don't need to go down very far, but you want to feel it right here to open up this area. So now, yes.
Then we started with the arms up.
Yes. Okay. So I'm doing that separately. Now we're going to do reaching for heaven and earth, which is from Badwa Jin. That is the movement from reaching for heaven and earth, and what typically happens is I see people bend their knees. So I was having you do it all in isolation so you could feel that. Now we're going to do reaching for heaven and earth, which has a spinal roll in it that we've done. That stretch, and then I throw in, because we didn't do our lateral, opening up the ribs, but we're going to open up the low back by doing this one. So actually, let's do that one in isolation, and then we'll put all 3 together in a sequence. So, because you're going to feel it right here. So go ahead and fold your arms and hip hinge or hip flex forward. And I want you to take a moment. This one, keep the knees straight and just hang. Now, the intent is keeping the knees straight so you feel it down the back of the legs. You do not need to reach the toes. Now, and if you start to bend the knees because it's tight, straighten the knees and come up more. Because the intent is you want to feel it down the back of the legs. Now, the arms folded is going to make the front of your body heavier, and it's going to give you some traction, so you'll start to feel it open up right through the low back there. Now, and I'm going to come around and touch you, when you twist, you're going to feel it on either side of the spine because you're going off the midline. Yes. So the legs are straight. You've flexed your hips forward. Now twist. We're going to go to the left. Take your left elbow to your left knee. And it doesn't need to touch, but move in that direction. And you should feel it go down your right side along the lower lumbar. And then come back to center. There's your neutral. Now, take your right elbow to your right knee. It doesn't need to touch. But you should feel that go down your left side along your spine. And then come back to center. Now to add the breath, inhale, twist to the left. Exhale back to center. Inhale to the right. Exhale to center. Inhale to the left. Exhale to center. Inhale to the right. And center. Now go ahead and roll up the spine. And when I roll up, I do bend my knees slightly because it helps me feel my tailbone more. Come up. So that was it in isolation. Now we're going to do reaching for heaven and earth, and we're going to start putting all the little pieces together, and that's what makes this whole series a dynamic movement. And if you understand each piece, you can do each piece correctly. Now, just when I just had you reach up straight, this time when we reach up, I am going to have you lean back, which is a lot like this, or is this, but the difference is the arms are up, which means you don't get this rotation to open up that bicep tendon and everything. But the difference is when you lift up, you're lifting the underneath the diaphragm, and you'll be stretching the diaphragm. That will help you breathe deeper, and leaning back for that spinal extension. So it's different. And there is a difference. Keeping the arms close to the ears will stretch you differently than bringing the arms out to the side. And we'll go over that later, so I'll let you choose today. But here is going to stretch differently than here, or here, quite frankly. You go into different ranges. All right, so reaching for heaven and earth. Inhale, reaching up. Lifting the rib cage, lifting the chin, leaning back. Exhale. Keep the knees straight. You don't need to go all the way down. Push the buttocks back. Feel it in the hamstrings. Okay, now I'm going to cross my arms and go ahead and drop down. And take a moment, just breathe and relax into it. And that weight of the arms is going to pull through the hamstrings and through the low back. It's going to stretch that fascia and the muscles. I'm going to inhale and twist. 5 count. Exhale back to center. Inhale, twist. And exhale back to center. Inhale, twist. Center. Inhale, twist. And center. Now, let the arms go. Straighten the legs, put the hands on the knees, and look forward. And so you should feel that down the back of the legs. Lift the toes. You're going to feel it all along this area. And I'm looking forward because it brings my head up and that spine straight. Drop the toes, hinge, and now you can relax your knees. And to bring awareness and to remind you how to do the spinal roll, feel your sacrum. Push down on your sacrum because you want that to tuck under. And now you can go ahead and relax those shoulders. Feel the back round as you come up, come up, come up, come up, come up, come up. And traditionally, you put your hands on the low back. This is your spinal extension. They have me do this one in PT. Just put your hands on the low back, lean forward. You can look up and back to neutral. Let's do pulling down the heavens. Now for a final static stretch, everyone grab a chair because we're going to use the chair for this. Put it in a circle and afterwards we will sit. So right now stand behind the chair for this last stretch. You could do this with the chair or you could do it with the wall. But this is to assist you. And what's nice about the chair though, and I'm going to show you before you go down, is that you can get a towel or something and rest your head here. And why that's important is you're all familiar with child's pose from yoga. And it's calming. Have you ever seen mothers go like this? There's something, we could go into third eye, we could go into the glands that are here. There's something about this that is calming. And when we talk about sciatica, you're in pain. And the muscles, you get caught in a pain cycle, the muscles pulse, okay? So if we really want to deal with sciatica, it's not just about stretching, it's about getting the muscle to relax in the stretch so it will release the nerve, because right now it's holding the nerve captive. So things like child's pose is one of the stretches they'll list, and physiologically we'll look at why, but also it's resting the forehead here. Now here's the thing, if you've had knee surgery, you may not be able to do child's pose. I don't know how deeply you can bend, or if you have knee injuries. So a lot of the psoas stretches, I would see and I'm like, if you have knee surgery, I don't know if you can bend that way. Some of them are very dramatic yoga stretches, and they're not, anyways, there's my tangent there. So the point with this one is that if you can't bend your knee to do a child's pose, you're basically doing a child's pose here by resting that forehead here to help you relax. Yep. That one. Will your knee do that? Yeah. See?
I'm not comfortable kneeling on that knee yet.
Yeah, you know what? I have a hard time getting to this pose myself. So, which is, I'll go into this tangent in just a moment. When I looked at a lot of the stretches, some of them are for people who have good knees or are not pregnant. And what I just showed you is not on the internet. And so again, we'll do the cross comparison as to why this is good, because you can do it in office, you don't have to lay down, et cetera, et cetera. So using a chair rather than the wall lets you rest your forehead here, which there's something about this that puts you into a state of relaxation. So what we're going to do is, again, the idea is to keep the knees straight because you want to feel it on the back of the knees. So go ahead and just push the buttocks back until you can feel it in the back of the knees. You have and just from here, and just like before, because when we're doing without the chair, you can just put your hands in your knees for that stability. And this time, you're using the chair for stability as you hinge forward. Now, if you lift your toes, you're going to feel it in your calves. Okay? Now, to help with sciatica, remember rotation is moving around an axis like this. This is rotation. Rotation is here. For the leg, this is rotation. For sciatica, you want to turn that heel out. And I am not going to turn out the right leg because each time I've done it, it hurts me. That's right where my tear is. But turn both your toes in and your heels out. You're going to feel that spreading in the buttocks, which is what you want. And then lean forward. And then you can get close enough. You can just fold your arms and have your forehead right on your forearms. And I'm going to get out of my teaching mode and going back into breathing. So inhale. Feeling the back of the legs relax, feeling the buttocks relax. One more. And coming up. So, yes, knees are straight. And what's the difference between having the knees straight and lifting the toes here, which you'll feel all the way around here, is when your knees are straight and you turn it out, you're working that muscle right in here that we're going to review. And this is the muscle the sciatic nerve runs through. That's why you put those heels out. Now, the reason why I'm not is that's the muscle that's weak on me, and every time I turn my heel out, I feel pain. And I don't think it's the sciatic nerve. I think it's the lumbar tear, or the labrum tear, not lumbar. That'd be bad. So that rotation is when I feel it. And usually I feel it and it goes away, but when I did it last week, it actually ached all day afterwards. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to teach these carefully today. There's certain movements my body doesn't like. So go and have a seat. I will bring you the clipboards if you need water. I got a couple pins here, or pencils,